It only took arriving here and seeing these mountains for the first time for me to fully understand why we needed to be here.
Come on, come on. Here's your good girl. Yeah. Okay, ready? 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 Go. Oh, you're getting tired. Oh, yeah.
Coming to the Tetons was just something our hearts told us to do, and I am so glad we listened. I couldn't believe how lucky we got with our campsite. Not only is it in a field of wildflowers, but we also have this incredible direct view of the Teton Mountains that I cannot stop staring in awe at. After what was essentially 3 days of driving and traveling, we spent the first day here just resting. It felt so good to take the time to slow down and really fully arrive. The next day, we were so excited to start exploring. For our first venture into the park, we decided we were just mostly wanting to drive around to get a lay of the land and get oriented. And this is a good segue to tell you something important. I actually didn't take any footage in the park, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to show you. Which I know sounds really weird, but here's the story. In October of 2022, the US passed legislation that made it illegal to film commercially in any national park in the United States without a permit. Commercial filming in this context means any footage taken by a person, business, or other entity with the intent of generating income. This includes individuals, such as myself, that have the intent of generating revenue by posting footage on websites such as YouTube, or even TikTok. The cost of just the application for a permit for me to film in the Grand Tetons was $325, which, as a small creator, just wasn't a feasible option. And this is one of the main reasons we chose to stay in campsites outside of the national park, and also why we did a lot of exploring outside of the park, as you'll see later on in the video. But here's the good news. America's Outdoor Recreation Act of 2023 was recently introduced into the Senate. And if signed into law, the bill would allow creators with crews fewer than 7 people to resume filming on public lands without the fee and permit. And while there's so many things I would have loved to show you, I also understand the need to protect places like this. But back to our story. It was a great first day, and we were out until the last light of the day was fading from the sky. Over the next 5 days, we explored and went on so many amazing adventures. I couldn't get enough of these mountains. Their energy and magic was just unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Every morning, we'd choose a new place to go, and then we'd just pack up and go, whether it was hiking, rock climbing, or just being in nature. We spent a lot of time exploring some really amazing places in the park, but we also did a lot of our activities in the national forest right outside of the park. The weather was absolutely perfect, and it just felt so good to move and be in this incredible nature. So now we're gonna go jump in the lake. We found a good balance with life too. We'd spend the mornings exploring and then spend the later afternoon doing work in Jackson. And while we did a lot, I feel like we barely scratched the surface.
Hi.
Hi, you found a podcast.
I did, and they're talking about the Grand Tetons. They're some of the shortest range. They're only at 40 miles long and about 20 miles wide.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The flies are still bad.
How's it still bad? There you go, bud.
Thank you, bud. What did you learn?
That the Grand Tetons are made out of two different types of stone. When the shelves came together,
Yeah.
they're made of two different types of stone. And so that's why, like, you can see stripes of, like, lighter colored stripes of rock and darker colored stripes of rock. Gniess. Nice.
Oh, Bubba.
Oh, boo, boo. They've only been uplifting for 10 million years.
Only.
And the Rockies have been uplifting for, I think he said, like, 80 to 100 million years.
Wow.
And the Appalachian uplifted like 300 million years ago.
Super old.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Thanks, bud.
You're welcome, bud.
I'm going to try editing again. Love you.
When we weren't exploring, we were here, just among the wildflowers back at camp, which was so needed because it gave me some time to really settle into myself. It feels so amazing to be back living on the road again, and it was honestly a relief to feel that once we were back in it, that I just knew in my bones that it was the right thing and that there was no other way of living that I'd really rather be doing right now. After almost a year now of living on the road, it's so clear that changing your lifestyle doesn't change how you relate to yourself or your life. And the irony about this lifestyle is that we spend so much time trying to pack efficiently and get rid of stuff, and we take time to understand how we can be more minimalistic and let go of so many things that we think and are told that we need. And yet, it's so easy to neglect what is actually the honest to truth biggest baggage that we'll carry with us on this journey, which is our relationship with ourselves. It was also really good to be in nature like this again, because it forces me to recognize the greater natural force in the world. And because the truth is, the last while I've been struggling to meet myself. I feel like I'm entering a new chapter around what it really means to meet myself, and also what creates a sense of real fulfillment in my life. And I'm having to admit that after a really long time that I really don't know what that is or how it looks in my own life. I think honestly, we have to redefine it so many different times in our life. And that's actually a really good thing, because now that I've admitted that I don't know, I can be open and curious to everything and start really finding something that's actually real for me. In this chapter that's closing, I feel like I approached answering this question in a very conceptual way, and I learned a lot from that. But now I know the difference between what is real and what is conceptual, and I know now that approach no longer works. And while the conceptual often sounds really good or looks really good, I'm really ready to let go of it ever looking good or needing to be a certain way, and to only have what's really real and can be lived and embodied.
Hey, Bunny.
As it often goes, at the perfect moment, I came across a poem by the artist and writer Morgan Harper Nichols, and it really spoke to my heart as I thought about purpose and fulfillment. She writes, "Let July be July, and let August be August, and let yourself be even in the uncertainty. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to solve everything. And you can still find peace and grow in the wild of changing things." Wherever you are in the world, I hope you can have and be just right where you are. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Sending you my love.